So do you have this die and wonder what bow shape it makes and how to glue it together? Because this is what it looks like. Now I don't tend to use this top one layer, but you can, and it adds like an extra dimension, but this is a version of it I like to use most often. And for 3 sheets of material, so I've got this for the fairy tale wrap, this for the scalloped bit here, and this colour for the tails and the centre. So what I like to do is, I know I'm going to be able to make 4 bows with this. So the first thing I do, and I do waste a bit of material, I'm not going to lie. I could sit here and work out pattern repeats and where everything's going to fall nicely and things like that, but I haven't got the patience or the energy for it. Very few people do when they're using these machines. You can save all your scraps and use them for other side projects and things like that, but it depends on the type of person you are, really. But know how your own little brain works is normally for the best. So that's in those bits. And then this is for our scalloped back bits. And again, I could be saving a little bit of the bit here, but I also tend to like to give myself a little bit of room, you know, in case I slightly slip when I put the materials on the Big Shot. So if it sort of jumps a little bit to the left or the right, which it does sometimes when I move things about, it's got a little bit of space so that it can sort of still have enough room to cut nicely without issues. Hopefully that makes sense. And then with the tails, what I do is take that. It's not quite. So that bit tends to be spare. And then what I do as well, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And that extra tends to be for the centres. 1, 2, 4. Dear God. Right, so I'm just going to get everything ready. I like to put my tails on first. And then the scallops. And then the middle. Or the front of the bow, basically. And then I'm going to turn it around. And we're going to sandwich it between my cutting plates. Like this. And I'm just going to transfer it to a Big Shot, which is not on my desk because it takes up too much space. Back in a second. And I'm back. Now we can unsandwich. They're all okay. They're all okay. They're all okay. And they're all okay. It's a miracle. Now, like I said, you do have quite a bit, and like I said, some people will sit there and like cut down those for, well, to be honest, I would for those for centres. I can use them for nice light centres. Same with that piece. And then again, extra little bits that you think you can actually use and not complete scraps. And I do tend to save all of these in a little box and then go through them periodically and do like scrap packs or other bits, but it depends. Like I said, some of them go to my nieces for like collages, stuff like that. And what your requirements are, really. But I do try and waste as little as possible. Sorry about the squeakiness, it's my desk chair, I need to tighten it all up. So now we are going to make 4 bows. So there we go. So the first thing that I do, if I'm doing this like this, is a little bit of glue. Make sure it's centered before you press and sort of stick it down. So that they've all got even amounts of the scallops either side. There we go. And then we are going to glue all of these ends. A little bit of glue on your tab. bring it up to the centre. And you want to make sure that all of that's behind there, so that you can't see any of the white of the back of the bow at the front of the bow. If you've glued it in the right places, that won't be something you need to worry about. Again, same on the other side. And then we'll pull in this round. Again, make sure your scallops are nice and even, and that you're only gluing this so you're not pulling it too far over, so you can start to see the white areas of the back of the bow. And then repeat the other side. And there we go. And my glue, I didn't give it enough time to, well, I let it dry too quick earlier, so I just added a little bit extra glue there. I'll do the next one, flip it over, up to the centre, to the centre, glue, lots of glue, basically. Watch your fingers. Still recovering from last week's glue burn. It doesn't actually hurt my fingers anymore though, so that's always a bonus. It just doesn't look pretty. So there's that one. And like I said, alternatively, you could have used the second layer of this to cut out the smaller one and only made 2 bows of the style with the second layer on top. But it's playing around with the dies and sort of coming up with all the different combinations of the bows that you like. Because the other one that I like myself is to just use the scallop with the tails without the wrap, and have like the wrap as the scallop as the main bow. But the more dies you have, the more variations of things that you can play around with and adjust to suit to what you like the style to look like. That's the fun thing about these multi-layered dies, because you don't just get 1 or 2 bow styles out of them. Most of them you can make an average of like 5 of 6, at least 3 to sometimes up to 7 different variations of the die and the bows. I like to cut out templates using card and then layer the card, manipulate the card into the shapes and see what they'll look like. And then you can sort of work out where you want to put your patterns versus your solid colours and your glitters and your tails and things like that. And it's a fun way to test all your... Again, that's because I got a bit gung-ho earlier. It's okay. Little extra glue and we are away. And I'm going to flip these all onto their backs. Take our glitters off. We will do one at a time, not all 4. So there's one with the glue back. Line up our tails. Back. Glue. Line up tails. Probably could have done with a slightly paler purple. I think it gives it a nice pop of colour. Then we'll take our alligator clips. And I do apologise, I've not named the die, because for the life of me, I don't remember a single name of any of my dies, unless it literally says it on the side. But I will put you a list of where you can purchase them from different places. And then our centres. Take a little bit extra. Glue. Centre. Glue. Wrap it round. Round. Too much glue. It's okay. Just get it all over my fingers. There's a little glue stringy. Because I only have a £10 Hobby Craft 11mm glue gun. Now it does do glue stringers everywhere, but I like it because I am extremely clumsy, and no matter how many times I've dropped it compared to some of the more expensive glue guns I've had, because I've had like the Biggest Way, and I've also had a couple of other recommended ones, and I've dropped them more than like 5 times, which I always do, and they just stop working. So this £10 Hobby Craft has lasted me, going on, touch wood, 3 years now. And the bigger 11mm glue sticks tend to last longer for me than the little 7mm or 9mm ones. And there we go. We've got 4 super cute little fantasy fairy tale bows out of 2 1/3 bow sheets. Thanks for watching. Bye.